I'm Jim Knight, co-founder of the Instructional Coaching Group, and you're listening to Coaching Conversations, where I talk with coaching experts from around the world so that all of us can learn better ways to make an unmistakably positive impact on the people around us.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Coaching Questions Show on the Coaching Conversations podcast with Jim Knight. This show is for everyone that calls the Instructional Coaching Group home for all your instructional coaching content. These episodes are designed for everyone who desires to think and learn alongside Jim and myself as you continue to make an impact with all the great work you do. I'm Jessica Wise, a proud member of our ICG consultant team. Today's episode is a chance for us to reflect, to look back at 2024 and look ahead to 2025. Once our Q&A has come to a close, we'll have an epilogue or a final note at the end of the show with a question to wrap up our discussion before we sign off. So, on with the show. Hi, Jim.
Jessica, happy holidays.
Happy holidays. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Well, I'm great because I'm seeing you. So I'm happy to be here. So
it's always a great day when I get to spend some time with you.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm fortunate.
Anything exciting coming up for you, Jim?
Well, we're recording this right before Thanksgiving. It's going to come out Christmas Day, I think. But Christian Van Nurburg's coming here right before Thanksgiving. He's never experienced American Thanksgiving. So we're going to take Coach on a motorcycle to Nebraska and have him experience the whole deal. Football, turkey, pumpkin pie, cranberries, dressing, mashed potatoes with gravy. Probably yams, whatever. The whole thing is going to be pulling. So he's going to have the platonic version of the Thanksgiving dinner.
Wow, that sounds fun. I'm sure he'll document it. So I can't wait.
It says the on Coach on a motorcycle. You're right. Stay tuned for our Thanksgiving dinner on Coach on a motorcycle. How about you?
Well, I have an exciting Thanksgiving event happening this year. My mother and I are starting these girls' trips, just the two of us, and we're actually leaving on Thanksgiving. And we're heading to Massachusetts. That's our destination for this year. So that's our new thing. We're visiting Boston, Salem, and we're driving down to Martha's Vineyard. So I'm pretty excited.
That'll be great. How's the softball team doing?
Softball, wow. I feel like we have softball every day of our lives, but it's going great. We're so close to winning it all. Yes, still winning. We won Wednesday night at 9:45. I think we finished. Maybe it was 9:30. And we just keep blowing them out of the water. Our girls are so good.
Oh, that's cool. Good,
yes.
Good. Great.
All right, Jim. Well, our episode today embraces reflection. So we'll spend a moment looking back over 2024 and then looking ahead to 2025. So let's start with looking back. Right. As you look back over 2024, what are you left thinking or what are you grateful for?
So I have so many things to be grateful for, and I hope you'll tell us the same thing for you. But I want to focus on the podcast and things related to work because I'm grateful for many things. I have my health, more or less. I'm in a marriage with a woman I love and admire, and friends who inspire me, children I love. I mean, I have great friends who make me want to be a better person. And my kids matter. So all those things are really, really important. Every anniversary, when Jenny and I have our anniversary, we go out to dinner. And we take a notebook with us, or note pages and pens, and we write down all the things we're grateful for. I just want you to know you were on my G list. You were one of the people I was grateful for. So, but there are a lot of other things too. I'm really grateful for our team, TLC. I just felt, I don't know if pride is the right word, but I was kind of thought how wonderful to be a part of this. It was a privilege to be with people who did such good work and who treated every person, I thought, with a great level of respect. And I really think educators need to get the same respect as other professionals. And I think they did that. And then I'm grateful for this expanded team, GCI. Now people like Claudia Oad and John Campbell and Chris Monroe and Christian Van Nurburg, they're all a part of us. So I'm great about that. I'm grateful for that too. But with respect to the podcasts, I got to talk with so many of my heroes, Hae Sun Moon, Margaret Weedley, Chris Emden, Christian Van Nurburg. I love my talk with Christian because he told me about his coach on a motorcycle trip from the whole of Route 66. And then one thing I wanted to say is a big thing that I learned looking back is I feel like I've improved my understanding of listening, what listening looks like. And I want to share just a couple things. Amanda Ripley, I've said this many times in the podcast, so people are probably like, oh, here he goes again. But she taught me in a podcast from talking about her book, High Conflict. She said to use looping, and that's a simple thing, but you after a person says something, you paraphrase it or you summarize it back, and then you say, do I have that right? And I've just found that simple question, do I have that right, after paraphrasing and summarizing. First off, you have to be listening to be able to ask that question, but it just clicks you into alignment. It's like the most powerful, simple little thing ever. It's like $1 million question. And then Kate Murphy has two ideas I wanted to talk about. One of them is the idea of a shift response versus support response, which is something she talked about at the Teaching Learning Coaching Conference. And a shift response is where you take the focus over to you, and a support response is where you leave the focus on the other person. So someone said to me, I'm really worried about my mom. You know, she's falling down. She's not doing well. I don't know if it's time for her to go to a home. I'm really struggling. The shift response would be, oh, I had that same experience with my mom, and let me tell you what I did. And a support response would be, I can see how that would be difficult. It must be hard to negotiate all the complexities of that situation. And I think that little idea, is it a shift response? Is it a support response? I found that really, really powerful. And the last thing about listening is, someone at the TLC asked Kate Murphy, how do you know it's been a good conversation? And her answer was, well, did I learn anything in the conversation? And if I didn't learn in the conversation, maybe I didn't have as good a conversation as I could have. So I thought that's a great thing to walk away with. What did I learn from the conversation? So that's a long list of things. Got them written up right here. What about you? What are you grateful for, Dr. Wise?
Well, I must say that, first of all, thank you for sharing everything that you said you were grateful for. And you talked briefly about all the personal ideas that you have gratitude for. And I just want to echo all of that. And Jim, it really sounds like, in Better Conversations, we talk about living a fulfilled life. You also wrote an article about that. And it just is really special to hear about the very full life that you have. So thanks for sharing that with all of us. I also love my family and all those great things, but also focusing on work like you. I want to start by sharing my gratitude for you, Jim. And I know I've said this to you. I say it to you on our Zooms, in person, through text and Polo. I also say it to other people when they ask about work, and I say I'm just the luckiest person in the world because I get to work with such good people, and you're one of them. And I know I've said it before, but what you do for us, everyone on the ICG team, is really lift us up, and we feel valued and listened to and heard. Specifically for me, I feel like a true partner, even though I still get very nervous even though you tell me not to, I do, before we co-present or podcast or we do our webinars. I still get nervous, but what keeps me grounded is that you're just such a calm presence. So I want you to know how grateful I am for you.
You need to know you do that. You do share with me your gratitude and affirmations and appreciative comments. And it makes a difference. When you're doing complex work, there's always moments of doubt, and then there's times you're not at your best. And so I think taking the time that you do, I want you to know it lands and it's helpful. It helps me move forward. I'm grateful for that. I'll add it to my G list. I'm grateful for that too.
Thank you. I also just want to share that I'm really grateful for the people that we work with. I have the privilege of working with people all over the world in our virtual institute, our 16 weeks, but also the folks I get to meet in person or one-day workshops or two-day workshops. And it all came to me at TLC when we had multiple groups of people coming up to us and sharing about their experience in the 16-week institute or a one-day workshop. And then we had a group from Ecuador who traveled all the way from Ecuador, brought coffee for us and chocolate, and they shared the impact that learning with ICG has had on them. And then we have people from Massachusetts, of course, the learning partners who had an impact on IC Toolkit. Just so many people. But like you said, being a part of that community at TLC made me feel so grateful. And the word you use a lot is benevolence. I felt that every day, all day at TLC.
They gave you chocolate?
You didn't get chocolate?
Yeah, I got chocolate too.
Okay, I was like, oh, it's all gone, so I just offered it.
Mine was gone before TLC was over.
Okay. It was wonderful. Yes, we're eating no chocolate anywhere but Ecuador from now on.
That's right.
Well, thanks, Jim, for sharing all of that and for allowing me to share too. So let's shift to looking ahead. We're creeping up on 2025. What are you looking forward to in the new year?
So I have so many things. Learning from the coaches I'm working with. So I've been working with coaches now, trying out Brian Goodwin's tools that we've created for the book I'm doing with him, and getting feedback. And I learned so much from the coaches. Have been invited to co-author a second edition of John and Christian's book about the leader, a guide for leadership coaching or coaching leadership. I always get the title wrong, so I better get it right if I'm going to help write the book. So it's going to be really fun to work with John and Christian. They're the friends who make me want to be a better person. I mean, they are always 100% respectful of other people, men, women, whomever they might be. I've never heard them say, even for a second, something that isn't deeply respectful of other people. I'm like, I need to be more like that with them. So it's just inspiring to be with them. I'm working with Brian Goodwin on a book on instructional coaching for the new classroom instruction that works. Brian's another wonderful person I'd love to work with, and excited to get that book out. We're adding these new GCI courses where we're going to be looking. The next one coming up is Challenging Conversations, but Coaching Fundamentals and other courses that GCI has offered, so that we can offer a whole suite of courses for administrators who want to develop a coaching approach to leadership. And I'm excited to see how people use the IC toolkit and data rules. I have to tell you, Jessica, I have the toolkit right here. Here's the IC toolkit. I can say this because I didn't put it together. I think it's just wonderful. I love the way it's put together. I think you and Michelle and Amy did just a fantastic job of putting it together. I think it just is really, really great. I love the whole, and it's so substantial, 300 pages with all these articles and things. I think it blew me away when I got it. I was so grateful for all the work you do. All I did was write some of the articles. You guys put it all together. So I'm excited to see the impact of that. I'm excited to see the impact of one-to-one coaching. We're offering one-to-one coaching for coaches and teachers and administrators. And then I don't know if you know this, but Christian and I are going to Nepal in November. And so we're going to do like a trek up to Annapurna. That's kind of the tentative plan. More details to come. And you'll be able to watch all of the details on Coach on a Motorcycle. So that I'm really looking forward to, too. I've always been fascinated by Nepal, this kind of combination of spirituality and the mountains. I lived in the mountains for many years. I love the mountains. But to see the Himalayan mountains is going to be amazing. So that's my long list. But what, J-Dub, what are you looking forward to?
Well, I have a curious question. So you mentioned that you'll hike, right, with Christian in Nepal?
Right.
Okay, so no fall of night, though, in Nepal. You had a fall.
No, we're not going ice climbing. We're just hiking a trail.
Okay, good.
But I do have to get in better shape for sure. So right now I'm 4 miles is about the upper limit of my walking, and I'll probably be wanting to walk 10 or 12 miles a day when we're in Nepal. So
4 miles is progress, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's room for improvement.
Okay. So a few things I'm grateful for is you talked about one of them, the IC toolkit. I can't wait to see how people use it. And I'm really curious to hear what people think as they explore either the solo coach, a group of coaches, or a program leader who's facilitating to coaches. I'm just so curious to see, because I'm sure they have new ideas. And so I can't wait to hear about their experiences. I think it's a great book too. I'm just so excited. And I've been going through and doing the activities myself, because another thing I'm looking forward to is the One Fine Bird Book Club, which launches in January, and people can register on our website. But the One Fine Bird Book Club is an exploration through 3 of your books, Jim. It's The Definitive Guide to Instructional Coaching, and our wonderful companion text, the IC Toolkit to that, and Data Rules, which, as I texted you yesterday, I am just loving Data Rules. It's so practical and easy to read. I've already flown through the whole book. It's just so great. So the One Fine Bird Book Club gives whoever signs up an opportunity to learn through those books with people who are also interested in exploring the success factors. I'm just excited about that. I've been planning it. I've been reaching out to people on our team to get their feedback. And every time I do, I just get a rush of excitement because I can't wait to do this new idea. So that one's a big one for me. But I'm also grateful too and excited about the GCI partnership. I'm really lucky to work more closely with Claudia as we open these new offerings like managing challenging conversations. And having the opportunity to watch her coach through the growth framework the other day was so cool. So I just can't wait to grow my coaching skills in the growth coaching framework also. So those are mine.
That CAP program that she's overseeing is amazing, the coaching accreditation program. And if anybody's interested, they can just contact us and and we can tell you more about it. But I've been going through it, and I think I'll do it again next time just because the community is so much fun to learn with the people doing it. And then you get a accreditation from the European Mentoring and Coaching Council. But as far as the IC toolkit, I'll pull it up again because it's right here. I think people can take a kind of Forrest Gump approach to this book. They can say, the book is like a box of chocolates, and they can just open it up and, well, today I'm going to read about videotaping, or maybe I'll look at the in closing activity, or a whole section on coaches as leaders. So I think it's like IC toolkit is like a box of chocolates. That's my take.
I love that. I think I'm going to have to put that on my slides for the book club. It's welcome to your box of chocolate, the day of box of chocolates or something. That's really great.
Well, the other thing about the book club is 2 years ago, we did a thing where we surveyed a lot of people and interviewed a lot of people at TLC. And the one thing they said was they really wanted a community. Mm-hmm. They wanted to have people they belong with, people like them that they could connect. So I think the toolkit's a great way to do that.
Yes.
Not the toolkit, but the book club will be a great way to do it.
True, the Box of Chocolates book, the IC Toolkit.
Right, one of those books, yeah.
Well, to close out our show today, Jim, I thought we could share a brief final message of gratitude with our listeners. So what final thing would you like to share before we sign off?
Yeah, so I don't know if I can say this is the way I want to, but these are not easy times. And especially in the United States, but other parts of the world too, there's this increasing polarization. The Pew Institute a few years ago said we're more polarized now than ever. And Archbishop Desmond Tutu talks about as a radical brokenness in all existence, that we are not meant to not connect. That connecting is what's the best. And so I feel for anybody who's struggling with how do I deal with these hard times of polarization, that there are all kinds of things you have to do in terms of being ethical and doing what's right and speaking your truth and speaking truth to power if that's what you feel you need to do. But I think and Margaret Wheatley talked about this as islands of sanity. I think we need to do our best to not treat the other person like an object, to really ask ourselves those empathy questions. What is that person feeling? What does that person need? I think there's a universal desire in human beings that we're wired to want to connect with other people. And I think there's a universal need to be seen. You'll see it in people who talk in meetings or whatever they're doing. It might be manifested in the way people design their homes or in what they create or podcasts or whatever they might do. I think people have a universal desire to be seen. They have a universal desire to connect. And if we can go down to those fundamentals in other people and see those things, I think there's an opportunity for real connection, And so I think trying to find the thing inside that I can connect with, not letting the crap on the outside, the politics or whatever it might be that obscures our vision of a human being. Doesn't mean we have to agree with people. We need to say what we think. We need to stand up for what's right. And there's some things that absolutely have to be rejected. Many things. But to do it in a way where we honor the other person and to see their humanity, to me, that's the thing that strikes me about this time, looking ahead. And, I'm optimistic that every conversation has the potential for that healing of that radical brokenness, to feel a real sense of connection. So that's my little spiel.
That was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. It took me back to what you were saying about listening earlier in our podcast. And you brought up Kate Murphy, who had such an impact on me as a reader. And she signed my book, and I was so excited to hear that when she signed it, because I was in a breakout session, that she was so pleased that I had notes all over my book. Had such an impact on me. And one of the things she talks about that's similar to what you're saying now is that everyone is sharing a story for a purpose. And that as the listener in the conversation, when they toss us this metaphorical ball that Kate speaks about, that it's our duty as listeners to really ask, why is this story so important? What is the purpose behind them sharing it with me? And how can I make sure to acknowledge that? So what you're speaking about really makes me think of that. And I think of all the people who are listening to the many, many stories that you've featured here on Coaching Conversations. I think I'm just grateful for that, is that people have made it their purpose to log in and connect with you and connect with the people that you talk to, connect with us, but then also to take that connection and do great things with it as they go off into their schools or their universities or their places of work. And I had the chance to meet someone, Jim, at TLC. It was in the keynote crowd. I was trying to find my seat up front so I could be right in front of the keynote because that's where I like to be. And Rochelle stopped me. I think I told you about this, but I'll tell you about it again. And she said she was actually listening to one of our podcasts because one came out while we were at TLC. And she paused it and looked up and said, "Jessica, oh my gosh, you exist. You're a person," which was so funny. But she said, "I just want you and Jim to know that I listen to every episode, even the ones that I'm not a part of. So every episode you record, Jim." And she said they make such a difference for her. She listens to every word. She takes notes. And she feels like she's a part of everything we do, which is just so cool. You have created a beautiful community that people connect with. So I'm really grateful for that.
Well, I haven't created it. It's been created by the community. It's grown up. And I think, it's just so much fun. I get to talk to, Hey Sun Moon, and I get to talk to Dan Pink and Sheila Heen and you. And so it's just so much fun to be learning with so many great people.
Yeah. Well, it's an honor to be here with you, Jim. So thank you so much for everything.
I hope you have a great holiday. I hope everybody listening has a great holiday. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for listening today, everyone. If you found today's episode helpful, it would help us if you liked or followed the podcast. You can also leave us a rating or a comment so we can continue creating meaningful content just for you. Thank you, and until next time, go forth and lead great coaching conversations. Have a happy holiday season, everyone. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jessica.